leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not hearing myself. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Am I on? There you go. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, and as always, it's a pleasure to be here today on this TGIF open line show. And I know usually on a Friday I sound upbeat and more excited to be here because, you know, Friday means the weekend. But starting this TGIF show today with a heavy heart. And I suspect that much of what we're going to be talking about today is the reason for my heavy heart today. So much so that I have invited Shelley Lewis to join us here in studio. I'm just trying to send her the StreamYard link so she can sign in using her device so we can get a proper shot of her camera as well. So Shelley, check your WhatsApp is going to come through any second now. So last evening, I usually get notifications when news stations go live. And I got a notification that both our news and Eyewitness News had gone live. And I'm going to go to the single shot because this is not looking right. So I'll go to the single shot while Shelley comes in. Why does it keep dropping back out? Okay. So I got a notification that these news agencies gone live, and I tuned in to see what was going on. And the reports were that a woman was found unresponsive in a hotel room out west. And eventually they reported that the woman obviously had deceased. And initially the police on the scene were saying that it was foul play suspected. And then the next thing we heard is that it could be an apparent suicide. You have to turn your volume down on your device. Put it on mute if you can. Okay, so Eyewitness News last night, and we have to fix it so we can see you better, Shelley, because right now we're not seeing you very well. Eyewitness News last night, live on the scene, actually put the name of the person out there, which I thought, I don't know if they should have done that, because, you know, our training is that you wait for notification of next of kin. And I'm pretty sure that some of that young lady's family found out about her death on that live feed. But they called her name and said that she was the victim, had been found hanging in her room, and that her young toddler child was in the room with her. Now, the thing is, while we're still trying to get Shelley sorted out, this young lady is someone who came to the public eye late last year. She went public about alleged abuse that she had been suffering, allegedly at the hands of the child of her father. And she made the rounds. She appeared on Beyond the Headlines with Shanique Miller. She got some national attention. But she at one point posted a video on Facebook crying out for help. And I watched that video, and it was very difficult to watch. Now, I only took a short clip from the video that I'm going to play now. And I want us to talk about this because we clearly have to ensure that we await the autopsy results to see the cause of death. So I'm in no way trying to suggest whether she took her own life or if her life was taken and then made to look like a suicide. But I'm going to play portions of this clip of this young lady from late last year as she was crying out for help. And I want you to listen to the words that this young lady spoke at that time.
The Bahamas don't have nowhere. Then everybody in their mouth will tell you, press charges, or report it. But you know why girls is hold back? You know why? Because if they report it, and when they report it and they press them charges, it's nowhere for that woman to go if she's scared. Nowhere. And they telling you cold. Well, you press these charges and he could be out on bail. They ain't have nowhere for women to go. No protect. Like, the only protection is if you call the police, and that's if they feeling good. You still have some good police who will come, because last night, yes, they came. The first time I called the police, I didn't see the car, but when I called my mentor and she called the police, then they came. But they don't take these things serious, and I could have been a dead woman in here last night. When you report things, they make you feel like you was the crazy one, and then when something happened to you, everybody in their mouth feels sorry, right? Everybody in their mouth feels sorry. But what y'all doing now? Why somebody reporting it? What's gonna happen now? Before it's too late.
So like I said, that video was extremely hard to watch. Now, here's the thing. Shelley, if there's a way that you can put your phone on vibrate instead of just turning the audio down, do that, please. Well, we're still hearing it, though. So you need to turn your audio down even more. But here's the thing. If once the autopsy results come back, whether she took her own life or whether it is found that foul play was suspected, that there was some foul play involved, it doesn't change the fact of what she said at the end of that clip. And that is, everybody feels sorry for a victim, but what are you doing now to help? What about now? And she also talked about why it's difficult for young women to come forward and report situations, because there is no recourse. There's no place for them to hide and be safe in this country. And we've talked about this, the fact that we are in desperate need of some kind of shelter, some kind of facility where women and children can be safe. Now, just a couple of days ago, we did a show for International Women's Day and started talking about this whole attitude towards women. And there were some who almost wanted to act like we were being drama queens by talking about how women in this country are treated. Quite frankly, I still think many people see us as chattel, just a possession that you could do whatever you want to. And I'm not going to say anything today that's going to prejudice the case in case it is found that, in fact, she did not take her own life. Because in that video, she talked about, and it's in the public domain. In the video, I'm still getting your audio, Shelley. In the video, she talked about how allegedly a young man tried to strangle her, and she was walking around with a mark on her neck that looked like she was embarrassed to go out because this mark made it look like she tried to take her own life. Hand the phone.
It's on me.
So all of these things we're going to talk about this today because, like I said, whether or not it's the fact that she took her own life or whether it is that somebody, did some harm to this young lady and tried to make it look like she took her life, the autopsy results, I'm sure, are going to bring all of that to the fore. This is a conversation we need to have because this violence against women and children, and there's a lot that happened in that video that I wouldn't even play, but it was very hard to watch. Went on for over 20 minutes with her pleading for help. And she actually said, "I think he's trying to kill me." Let me bring Shelley in here. I think the audio is gone now. Okay, so Shelley, I was watching that live feed last night, and live is live, so whatever happens, live happens. And at some point during the live feed, this young man shows up on the scene, and it appeared that he tried, for those of us who are in journalism, the police have the tape and you're not supposed to go past the tape. And it seemed that he just wanted to walk right onto the scene. And so they were saying, no, you can't walk into the scene like that. You can't walk into the scene. And so this young man says, "I'm not a suspect. I'm not a suspect." And I thought, that's a strange thing for somebody to say. "Tell them, check the cameras. I'm not a suspect. I'm not the suspect." I said, what is that all about? I didn't know who the young man was. And then eventually it was revealed that the young man was, in fact, the father of the child that was found in the room with the deceased. But I just thought, even without knowing what the story was about or who was involved, I just thought it was a strange thing to say. And one of the things that she said in the video that is in the public domain, it's on Facebook, she said, she was talking about how she was pretty much, in essence, being tortured. And she did the right thing. She went to the authorities, and yet she was still being harassed. And one of the things that she said I thought was chilling. If something happens to me, y'all know who did it.
It's like a voice from the grave.
My God, that was chilling. Now, again, we are not here accusing anybody of anything, because that's why the police will do their investigations to find out what really happened, and the autopsy will reveal a lot. Because no matter how smart you think you are as a criminal, I remember a case some years ago when a young woman had been beaten to death, and the person who did the crime started a fire to cover up the crime, but the fire went out before, and they found the young woman's body. And the person who committed the crime came back on the scene and was weeping and hollering and screaming. And come to find out, she was the one who beat up a girlfriend, beat her to death, and was putting on a good show trying to cover this crime. Eventually, she was found out. So I am confident that the autopsy is going to reveal a lot, and hopefully the police investigation will get to the bottom of what really happened in that room. Did she take her own life, or did somebody, as she feared, did her harm? So, Shelley, here we are again. Here we are again, having another one of these conversations again. And she raised a very valid point. Everybody feeling sorry now. But what is happening in this country at the national level to help young women who are going through this torture? Because it seems that there's only, it's like she said, you go to the court, you do what you're supposed to do, but the person's still coming after you. They're still torturing you. They're still making life, so what are you supposed to do? There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. Here we are again, Shelley.
Less than a month later. Michelle, as we were mentioning, this is rough. This is hard for me because I watched that video back in November. And when I watched it, I wept. Because I felt her pain. I felt, what she was crying out, pleading for the public to understand what she was going through. And when I saw and I got the news of her death, it was like all over again. It was like the voice from the grave, and she was pleading, and I carried that as the top story today. And deep within, as a woman, that did something to me. Know that that's another senseless death because just in January we had heavy traverse, home murder, and that's still fresh in the minds. And like we were talking about earlier today, these things happen, and in the media they say news happens and it lasts for a couple of days, and after that, it's in the back of our minds.
Right.
And she's pleading, say, what will you say today, one?
Yeah.
What will you have to talk about? They're going to talk about her death for the next couple of days, and after that, but we need drastic draconian changes in this country to protect women and children. I'm not suggesting that how she died was a criminal act.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
We don't
and
know
we're
that.
Making that very clear. We're not accusing anyone of anything. We're just speaking as to what is in the public domain already.
Right.
Clearly, this young woman was dealing with of abuse, is on police record.
Exactly.
She has been before the courts.
And even if it shows that she committed suicide, she's
driven to it. That's the point.
She was driven to it. And that in itself is criminal. I feel as though it's criminal because you cannot, when you take control of another person's life to the point where you want to push, that in itself should be criminal.
One of the things she said in that video is, I feel like I'm being punished because I am accomplishing everything he told me that I cannot, that I could not.
Right.
And a clear, if you talk to any professional, any mental health professional, or any person like in the, the people situations, they always say that one of the things that chronic abusers try to do is to diminish your self-worth in your own eyes, to make you feel like you're nothing and you'll never amount to anything. And this is why you have to put up with me, because nobody else is going to want you, nobody else is going to love you. You're dumb, you're stupid, you're worthless.
The worst kind of abuse.
Right. And so in the video, she talked about, I decided, no, I'm going to do something better for myself. I decided to go back to school. All of this that she was trying to do to prove him wrong. And like she said, she felt she was being punished for doing the very things that he said she could not do. And one of the things that she said was that, if you, young ladies, if you decide to bring charges, don't drop the charges, no matter how hard it is. No matter how hard it seems, even though you're isolated and you're still afraid, do not drop the charges, because that I guess her point was it's given them, giving an abuser a free ticket to start all over again.
But Michelle, you know something, that in itself may be difficult for some women.
Yeah,
Because,
and I want you to go closer to the mic, Shelley.
because in her case, you notice that she kept hiding. If you listen to the video, she kept hiding in different places.
Yeah.
Sort of overdoing it, over securing her premises where she was, and now her final place was in a hotel. And
Which, by the way, she was being assisted by social services. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you find that some persons don't have the access to protect themselves, because we have
Move your hand, because every time you touch it,
no
it's making
safe
noise.
houses, or no place of refuge for these such women.
Right.
And that is the major problem in this country. Where do they go? The social service put them up in a hotel.
Yeah.
Where they're still exposed to the abuser.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that is the problem that needs to be addressed. And I know that there's an organization called Women United. They're working feverishly to address some of these problems, and they've actually written a paper to present to Parliament. I'm sure this is going to encourage Parliament to push forth that legislation for the protection of, you know.
And Shelley, I wish you were right. I so wish you were right. But how many times we can go through this and they ain't pushed through nothing yet?
Well,
how many times?
I think the Davis administration is going to look at it. I know there were some things that were said in the media and some things that were said by politicians, but this is something that we women are going to make sure that it reaches the Parliament, and we get the laws that we need to protect our women and children in this country.
I think what you need, let Jason work on that microphone, because it's really too far away from your mouth. Here's the thing, you know, we could find money in this country for what we want to find money for. There is a baseball stadium right now.
30 million.
No. 71 million if you add it all up.
Oh, yes, that's right. An additional 30
An additional 30 million. $71 million dollars to build a baseball stadium, which is facing in the wrong direction. So you have a limited amount of games that could be played in this stadium. I figure by the time our great-grandchildren are alive, then they would have paid for that stadium. Based $71 million.
Could you imagine what that could have done for other projects like what we're dealing with today?
But you can't find the resources
for a safe house
to build one, not even two, one safe house in this country for women and children whose lives are being threatened. You can't find $1 for that. It's hard for you to find a piece of property for that.
Exactly.
But you could spend $71 million on a baseball stadium.
And how often are we going to use it?
What, pointing in the wrong direction? This is the madness
in this country.
And yet you have these cavemen who will have attitude every time you have such a discussion. What more y'all women want? But listen. None of y'all better don't call this show today, because I eat was for breakfast this morning. I gonna jump all over you because I am sick and tired of this madness.
I think we all women, and there are some men who feeling it too. You know, let's not discount all the men, because
no, and I'm trying to do that.
There are some men who understand what women are going through, and we're going through some difficult times. Even single women, especially. We have married women who are going through the same situation too, because I was listening to following Cop Talk. You know, this is a regular police program.
Right.
And they had a psychologist on, I don't remember his name, but he mentioned the fact that how some husbands are telling women when to go to the beauty salon, what dress to wear, who to talk to on the phone, who to invite to the house. And these are situations that are real in this country, and women are living through it every day. So how do we just continue talking about it every time Carissa or Heavenly is murdered in this country?
Or takes their own life.
Because
we don't know what the situation is here.
Do we just talk for a couple of days? Or do we try to affect change? Do we force the politician to say enough is enough? What do we do? Do we every day we get on the before the microphone on the news and we broadcast these heinous crimes? It's enough is enough. Even when the men out there murdering each other, that's a form of abuse. Too many of our young people are dying senselessly. And every day we're reporting on it and it's not getting any better. What is the point? When do we say something has to be done? When is something going to be done?
I don't know what to say, Shelley. I don't know what to say.
I felt Carissa's death, regardless of how she died, the mere fact that she died the way she didn't have to. She cried for help. Whether she was pushed to her death or she was murdered, she didn't have to die that way. It's time for the conversations to stop and actions to begin.
Honest to God. One of the things the young lady told was how the police actually told her to stop being dramatic and
Yes.
stop, OMG. Farmers, we got to get our act together. This is 2022.
Mhm.
And we living and acting like we in the 19
Third.
beyond. No, we back in the caveman days when the man used to knock the head with the club, and that's how he got his
True.
partner.
Exactly.
We still in the caveman days. And I'm just so tired. And you're right. We got to get beyond these conversations now and start demanding action. We got all these politicians who dress up in their suit and got their drivers and they sitting up and, I'm sorry, but we, the people, put them there. And we have to start making demands on them for what is important to us.
Exactly. And something, many years ago, here at Global, we worked on a project with the Anglican Urban Renewal at the time, where we launched Teen Talk.
Right.
And we took some young kids and we went into that community and we worked with Urban Renewal. And that is where I met the Heavenlies and several other persons.
Mm-hmm.
And we did an extensive program in that area. And it was discovered that the level of abuse is very prevalent in that area.
Wow.
Anglican has a record high number of abuse because we find that a lot of the young girls depend on these guys to sustain their livelihood. And it's unfortunate. And I'm also a worker, I'm an advocate in the Anglican area because I worked with the Anglican Association and everything. And today I'm reaching out to our member of parliament as a woman. I'm reaching out so we can start one community at a time so we can affect change. We will no longer sit back and see the Heavenly murdered. We will no longer see whatever circumstances that Carissa died. We will never continue to see that happen. We will start as women in our respective communities and lobby for change, even if we have to go and block parliament. Because, what one thing is good about it is that we have a large percentage of women in parliament today.
Yeah.
And they should stand side by side with us and demand that parliament does something to affect change in this country.
Sound like we need to organize some kind of female march, some kind of women's march.
The Women United is a very good, spearheading by Fidessa. I forgot Fidessa's last name, and Marissa.
Fidessa Moore.
And they're all working, there's some awesome women in the Women and Girls Mentorship Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wonderful programs, because I'm a member of that organization. And they're doing an awesome job trying to affect change in this country.
Yeah.
And they have been over the years. And like you say, it is only reaching the doorstep of Parliament, but we need to get it through Parliament.
Something got to happen, man. Something got to give.
And they're asking for every woman in this country, even the men, to come out and support whatever they're trying to do, so we can continue, or we can protect the women and children. This is happening more too often.
Yeah, Lord. Our telephone numbers to call today, 326-0271, 326-0271, 0272, 326-0272. And our WhatsApp line is 824-9952, 824-9952. We have to take a quick break. This is a TGIF open line show today, talking about the week that was. And boy, we had this awful situation happen last night. Young lady either took her life or was murdered, and the scene made to look like a suicide. Either way, this is not a good day. And
in front of a child.
And in front of a little child. We got to talk about this, and we're going to continue to talk about it on the other side of the break. Stay with us. GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. Shelley Lewis joining me here in for this open line show. And I must apologize to our Facebook viewers because we realized that after about 20 minutes or so after 2, the stream was disconnected, but we are now back up on Facebook streaming live. And even though this is a TGIF Friday show, for the first half hour, we've been talking pretty much about the death of young Carissa Culmer, who was found hanging in a hotel room out west last night. And at the beginning of the show, I would have played a video clip from a post that she made live last November, desperately crying out for help. She alleged that she was being abused by the father of her child, and she, reported to the police and gone before the courts. But she felt that she was still in danger, and at one point even said, "If something happens to me, you all know who did it." She actually said that in the video. Now, the police last night initially said foul play is suspected. And then they came back and they said it could be an apparent suicide. And then they came back and they said, we're going to wait for the autopsy results. Because clearly the autopsy will show how she died. But the point that we're bringing here today is whether it was at her own hands or at the hands of another, this could have been avoided because the young lady was either driven to take her own life, because she did talk about how she was so tired. She said she was tired. Either she was driven to the point to take her own life, or somebody took her life and tried to make it look like she took her own life. I'm sure that the autopsy results will show what is in fact the case. But Shelley and I are here talking about this because once again, we find ourselves where we're having this kind of conversation, talking about violence and abuse against women and children. And the fact that there is very little recourse for young women in this country who are being abused. Because you got to watch that video. It was heart-wrenching, chilling to watch. But like she said, everybody says, press charges. But what they don't consider is once you go and you press charges, you don't have any place safe to go to. And you can still be harassed and, abused while you're waiting for the case to come up. She said there's nothing in the Bahamas for abused women. And my question is, what is it going to take for us to get to the point where we take this problem seriously? That young lady talked about the police telling her, you need to stop being a drama queen. My God, how many people have to die before we decide to take this seriously? Shelley, I don't know. I'm beyond that. I am so sick of this vicious cycle that it's like we just keep again and again and again and again. Adjust your chair so that you're. Wait, I think yes, Jason, you have to open up a microphone. No, you have to open up the microphone. It's not open. So yeah,
Hello?
Go ahead,
Can
Shelley.
you hear me now?
Yeah, you're on now.
Yeah, Michelle. It's okay to say that we're all tired because for years, as journalists, we've been covering these type of stories.
Yeah.
Because I remember back in the days at ZNS, you were my boss at the time, and I was assigned to crime and courts, and I got the chance to cover many of these type of stories, going to crime scenes and so forth. And this is beyond, I wouldn't want to say the amount of years, but it's been quite a long time.
Long enough for us to get our act together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And successive governments, I can, without fear or favor, say have failed us. We have been covering and talking about these things for many years. And today, here it is, 2022. 2 young ladies died senselessly. Even more because when we watched that video with the lady on Wolf Road, who the gentleman just took and he kicked.
Mm-hmm.
And these incidents, and we get the report of women being stabbed, women being shot, women being, just this week, we did a report where a woman was shot. And these things are happening every day. Some of the reports we don't even
get to the news. Yeah.
They don't make the news.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the police reports, you decide, we have a certain news time frame. How much of it can be broadcast? we do it in a summary, and that's news. But at the end of the day, these cases are out there. They're mounting, they're increasing, and nothing is being done. And like I said earlier, the conversation need to move to another level of action right now.
Yeah, I agree. And who knows? Perhaps we as a station need to partner with those that you would have mentioned, the Podesta
Right.
Moores and
Mhm.
others,
Right.
Brenda Harris Pinder, and
Marissa and all of
yeah,
them.
and let's try
Mhm.
to get this movement happening,
Right.
man, because you know,
It has to, because Michelle, our CEO, we get into these type of conversations every day,
mhm,
and we were just talking. We need to get, especially into those inner city communities where it's so prevalent, because we don't hear about it, but it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. We have a lot of young girls being abused
Mhm.
sexually, abused
Emotionally, mentally,
mentally,
physically.
physically,
Mhm.
because of their circumstance, how their living conditions. They depend on these guys. They cannot move beyond that level, and they're subjected to the abusive relationships and so forth. We need to create such avenues where they can get out of that environment.
And not just get out of the environment. This young lady talked about how she decided to better herself.
Exactly.
Went back to school, was doing
well.
everything the way she was supposed to do it to try to break that cycle.
Mhm.
So it's not enough just to find a safe place for people to be, but now you have to empower them so that they can
Move beyond.
move beyond
Yes.
having to rely on their abusers.
But Michelle, when you think about Carissa's situation, she did everything by the book. She did everything
did.
she could have possibly done
She
to. But how does she protect herself, even in the best situation that she has put herself in? How does she continue or be able to protect herself against an abuser? Even if he didn't kill her, even if he drove her to it, how was she? I went back to school. I got a job.
I reported it to police,
reported it to
went before the
police.
courts.
I took care of my child. And
By myself.
I got a mentor.
Allegedly.
I enrolled in a program where mentors are.
She did everything that she was supposed to do.
To my mentor. We talked about it.
She did what she was supposed to do.
She did everything that she could have done. What else could she have done to prevent what happened? How do you place her in a situation that could have prevented yesterday's incident? Considering she did everything possible.
Our telephone lines 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp line 824-9952, 824-9952. If you're just tuning in, I'm not my regular jovial self on a Friday afternoon because that last night, to hear of a young woman found hanging in a hotel room with her toddler in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So that child witnessed something.
Yes.
Either that child witnessed his mother taking her own life or somebody taking it from her. But that child witnessed something that I am sure was traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the child was in a dead sleep.
Or probably was asleep, and I pray they were.
Yeah. That's a possibility as well.
I pray.
People, I know a lot of people, the sad thing is whenever you speak out, about these issues, women's issues, etc. Oh, you're a feminazi, you hate men. And listen, man, this ain't got nothing to do with hating men. And listen, I know that many of y'all still stuck in the cave where a woman is your property. We're not more than chattel. But I want to invite you to come into 2022. And I can say this. If you have to control this woman, if you have to exert your power over this woman by beating her, by making her feel less than, then something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
And my recommendation is that you go do the work and fix yourself. And stop making everybody else's life around you miserable because you don't have the cojones to fix your own problems. A lot of y'all out there got mommy issues.
Many.
You vex with your mom for whatever reason, and you will take that out on every single woman you come across. Get it together, man. Man up. Because it takes a weak man to beat up on somebody who he know.
Sister.
Why you ain't trying to go do that one fellow who your size are bigger? And that woman was 5 feet 3 inches tall. That little bitty thing. But you can beat up on her. Dude, you a punk.
And these are mothers.
A punk. And, I really believe that it takes more than just women speaking out.
Men need to as well.
Men need to make their voices heard on this issue.
But Michelle, touching on that, like I mentioned, there are some men who are really in this fight.
Yes, I'm not disputing that.
And I was listening to the program with Dave Williams. It comes on Sundays on Global, and they are fighting against this violence, and they focusing it from a man perspective, because we have some men out there who are also being abused.
Absolutely.
And it's a vicious cycle.
And a lot of them, some of them, I should say, were abused at the hands of their mothers when they were children.
Right, exactly.
So you grow up with this anger towards women.
Mm-hmm. It's a vicious cycle.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that. All I'm saying is there are resources out there to help you get over that.
Exactly. And are we promoting the resources that are available to abused men? Or are we just focusing on the women, and that's why they...
And let me tell you something, Shelley. Let me just say this. I don't want anybody listening to this show to believe that it's only boys in the hood who doing this foolishness. No. You got doctors beating on their women.
Of course.
Fellas dress up in suit.
Beating on their women.
Pastors beating on their women.
Of course. And like I said, it's not, like you said, it's not the boys, just the boys in the hood. It's the men in those areas where we least expect. And the abuse is happening in homes that you would least expect, even to children. So, because I remember many years ago, when I did my internship with social services, I was just in my 20s, and I was handed cases where fathers were molesting young daughters and actually having babies with these kids. And this is like in the early 80s. I worked along with Sandra Dean Patterson, Andrew Archer, and them at school welfare and so forth. And I remember one day sitting in the office, and this young girl walked in, and she was pregnant. And her mother dropped her there and tell her, you all do something with her. And this little girl, when she revealed her story to us, it was the mother's boyfriend. And then, when you look years later, these are the victims of abuse. And we're creating a society where these people are part of. And what is being done, some of them get the help, some don't. And these are women who are now, children who are now women and men in our society. And like you say, these are being abused by the hands of their very own mothers. These men, where did these men come from? They came from the same society in which we live. But what has been done? And like I ask you, are we reaching too much to for the resources for the women and not the men? Are we ignoring the fact that these men are a part of a vicious cycle, and they're a part of a society in which we live?
Very good point. Very good point.
So we need to treat the victim and the perpetrator.
Yeah. You're right, because it doesn't make sense only to deal with women, and then you're not dealing with the broken men who will continue the cycle. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Oh, this is a heavy day.
But it is a sad day, and we go home at the end of the day, and here in the newsroom we say, "Thank God it's Friday," and we look forward to going home. And I always tell my listeners, have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you go to church. And when we hear these type of stories, happening, and it's right back to where we were yesterday, talking about the heavenly travails, and now we have Carissa under these circumstances. We wonder, what will it be next? When is it going to stop?
Well, if we ain't take action when children get slaughtered,
yes.
What more will it take?
Little girl,
what more will it take?
What is it going to take? What is it going to take? Parliament meets again on Monday. They took a break from Wednesday and they go back on Monday. And Parliament is in the midst of the mid-year budget debate. And it talking about, we covered stories about allegations being made against, the opposition and so forth.
Yeah.
And the things that is happening in Parliament, the everyday Joe Blow like us, we wondering, are we being represented in Parliament? Here it is. Now we dealt with this blow with Carissa's situation. What will this message be on Monday morning?
I can tell you right now what it could be, Shelley. Oh, we are so saddened to hear of the tragic death of this young woman. And we're going to put all of our resources into trying to avoid this from happening again. And horse dead and cow fat and same old yada, 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 yada.
But I would like to hear that paper has been accepted and
look how long it
tabled.
took. Look how long it took to bring the Marco law into effect. Exactly. How many years since our boy dead?
Exactly.
How long?
How many years? And look how many kids have been killed. I remember covering the case with those young boys who were killed in Freeport. And how many have died since, Marco? So, are we just playing a mind game? Or do we have to take drastic draconian measures?
Priorities, people. What are our priorities?
Yeah.
What is our priority? If the women and children of this nation aren't, somewhere high on that totem pole to the point where you care enough to really do something about this problem, then what does that speak about our society?
And Michelle, I listen and I compare, and we focus on Bahamas as a tourist destination.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to draw the best of the investors here. But at the same time, when we invite them into our country, we're inviting them as part of our culture. We're inviting them as part of our society. Do we want to be recognized as a country where women are not safe in their own domain? Do we want to be recognized as somewhere that we can protect our women and children? I mean, investment is all good, but at the end of the day, we've got to paint a picture where our government is concerned about the rights of women and children, the safety and security of women and children in this country. We have to find a way that we cannot let the world see that our women are dying senselessly, and there's no law or any institution or anything in place to protect these women and children.
Well, I guess they will argue, Shetty, that there are laws on the books. But the problem is, again, as the young lady pointed out last November,
they just not.
It's one thing to say press charges. Okay, I go and I press charges. I go before the courts. I do what I'm supposed to do. But he out on bail, and he's still harassing me, and he's still threatening my life. What now? Where am I to go?
Let me ask a question. We have the Department of Corrections for both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
We protect the prisoners. No one can have access to those prisoners. When we speak of a safe house for women and children, what do you picture? What do you picture as calling a safe house?
Well, to me, it can't be one particular facility.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be where we have this big facility and a sign on it say, this is the safe house for women and children, because then it's pointless.
Right.
You need to create several facilities, regular looking homes in regular neighborhoods that people aren't going to necessarily, you don't announce that this is,
no, you don't.
Unless you have defense force officers or the police officers who can be guarding the facility 24/7. You can't make that a public thing to say this is a facility for women and children. But you need several housing units, safe houses where people can go and be helped until such time as the law takes its course. And in this country, that could be years. That's another problem.
Exactly.
Because you're waiting so long for justice. This could drag on for years.
So do you see, we have magistrate courts, we have Supreme Courts. Do you see a special court dealing specifically with these type of matters?
We don't have a court now that deals with this kind of thing, family court or nothing like that deals with this?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've been out of the court system for
well,
many
me too.
years. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that if there is a court that can speed up these
Fast
cases,
track, yeah.
fast track them,
Mm-hmm.
and we can get justice, swift justice,
Right.
in terms of dealing with these type of cases, perhaps, it can remedy some of the situation, because these women, like you said, he's out on bail. When is this case pending? The other guy, he was out on bail. The guys who were killed, they were out on bail. It's just like everyone's out on bail.
Yep.
And it's just like no regard for the police, because if you're out on bail and you're committing a crime, what does that say? Some of these, and I'm just off track, some of these cases where guys are out on bail are actually wearing anklet bracelet and they're committing crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, how can the system fast track these cases to protect these persons who've fallen, who've just been victims of senseless killings?
This is such a deep-rooted problem, Shelley. This thing is so deep.
It does.
We got 700 islands. Maybe we should just
get an island and
get a couple of them keys, and I don't know.
But the thing is, let's bring it down to New Providence. New Providence is very small. Everybody, to some extent, knows somebody, and and she was housed by social services. That was announced. I knew about that.
Wow.
I knew about that. I didn't broadcast it as part of my newscast, but I knew about it.
Did you know where she was being housed? Or just that she was in the system?
I knew that she was in the system, and I knew that she was being housed by social services.
Right.
But I took responsibility, and I didn't see the need to announce something like that.
Right.
But how many other persons knew that she was being housed? And how often does persons know what's going on with the victims like her? There is no safeguard system that can protect, and we have to look at all of these things. We have to look at that the reliability of the services, the confidentiality of the services.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of things to be considered, because you can take a woman out of a situation in a home, to say, and put her in a hotel, we don't have safe houses. We use hotels.
Yeah.
We use motels.
Which are wide open.
And I'm sure her movement was or whomever, their movement is not restrained to stay in that room. Susie at the front desk might know Johnny. That's Johnny's girlfriend in the hotel.
Yeah.
We don't need hotels. We need safe houses. We need professional people running these homes whereby these persons can be safe. We need to get beyond that. I'll put them up in a hotel or somewhere.
Yeah, that clearly is not working.
It's not working. Like I was mentioning, we can protect the prisoners and put iron rails around the perimeters, and we can put guards at the gates. The prisoners are protected. But why do we have to put, and when are we going to move from putting up the victims in hotels? It's not going to continue to work.
And again, I don't want here. Well, it's going to take quite a lot of money, because y'all just find money for what you want to find it for. Y'all just spend plenty money on foolishness. So don't come to me talking about you ain't got no money for this.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying to hear that. Because you find money for what you want to find for. Whatever is your priority, you just find money for.
Definitely.
And this ought to be a priority. My God. I don't care how you feel. All of y'all, especially those of you in position to make decisions that affect the country. How you get on this age? You come through a woman. She had to bring you here.
Mm-hmm.
My God. When are we going to understand? And I know the music, and Jason, I'm coming with the break right now. When are we going to get it that, listen, it's so true what they say, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. So if you aren't going to protect your women, that poison that you're feeding them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is going to be fed to their children. And then what will become of our society? Think on that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue. There are other stories that we could talk about, and maybe we'll get to them today. I don't know. But right now, I live annoyed. I vex. Not Lil. I did vex.
And so anyway, this is an open line show. 3260271, 3260272, or WhatsApp 824-9952. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. And I am joined today by Shelley Lewis. This was impromptu. We just were talking about this whole situation with the young lady losing her life last night, and I said, "Man, Shelley, you need to come join me on the set, and let's talk about it on the set." You know, I think we can do this more often, Shelley. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Well, you know, I get to carry these stories every day.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, the newscast that comes on just before the paradigm
Yes,
shift. So, you know, I have to talk about them in advance.
Right.
And it's sad to know that these are the stories that we're broadcasting almost every day. And, you know, this is really a sad end to the weekend, because I was just telling my producer, it's still ready. It was Sunday yesterday, and now it's Friday already. And when I heard this story last night
Mm-hmm.
and had to go with it today, and I said, wow, I remember back in November listening to her plea for help. And now here it is. Every media I know carried that story of her death. And to hear her say, what are you all going to be talking about? What is going to happen when this happens to me? And
Yeah.
here it is today. That is exactly what we're doing. And that is how we operate. But quite frankly, I get bored. I tell our boss that I get bored talking about these stories. And she's like us. We believe in getting things done. We believe in being proactive rather than reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that here at Global, because when Heavenly died, Michelle White, she was also a part of Urban Renewal. And like I think it was about 12 plus years ago,
Right.
we went and worked a project with urban renewal in the inner city, and she has a passion for the inner city, and so does I, and so did I, and we decided that when it was Heavenly, because we worked with those kids in Angliston, and when Heavenly was murdered, I wept because I that Sunday I just because I knew those young girls, we worked with them, and we decided that we would go back to Angleston, and we went back into Angleston after the incident, and we sat on the steps with the friends and we talked. And there are some wonderful young ladies in that community who want to be advocates for change.
Mm-hmm.
There's one called Tanya. She was Heavenly's best friend, and they want to affect change in their community. So what we decided to do at Global, we're going back into Angliston the 1st of April. We're launching a program called Resist the Fist.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for violence or abuse. And we're taking that initiative, starting in Angliston. We're going through every inner city community. Like you mentioned, that abuse is happening more than just inner city, but that is where it's more prevalent.
Right.
And we taking that campaign into the areas. We're not just going to talk, we're trying to affect change.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we're working toward is the establishment of a community center where women and children can go and get the assistance that they need, even if it means a meal. Because you find that a lot of women in Angliston, they live from day to day in that hustling spirit, and they rely on men
Mm-hmm.
who supply their needs for whatever benefits. And we want to take educational programs into the community. Like the Carissa, she went back to school and she upgraded herself. But a lot of these women don't have that opportunity. So we want to create opportunities for such young women. And we, one day Michelle and I, we went into the community. We talked with a lot of young women. We talked with young women, and these young women, they want a better way of life. They want to change. They want to be the Carissas of this world who went and made effort to change their circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not just the legislation, but it's putting programs and policies and putting initiatives within these communities. Like for instance, the neighbors, you have some outlets, some resources that you can go to within your community that can help,
Right.
And means a lot. Community neighbors helping neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine you have that setting whereby your neighbor next door can be your angel, so to speak, and
Mhm.
you could come together when situations arise, and we can deal with that as a neighborhood.
Right.
And that might be a step toward the right direction. In the neighborhoods.
Well, part of the problem is people just don't want to get involved, Shelley. They ain't none of my business.
Well, that is so, but I
People
think
don't want to get involved.
That may be true because sometimes you find that a volatile situation. No, I don't want to get involved in that.
Mhm.
And I'm also a chairperson in the NNWC, and the neighborhoods associations are good ground for neighbors to get involved. because we partner with the police, and we have community policing that we now having urban renewal, and we can work together and create an atmosphere whereby if something's happening with you can come as part of that association and we can deal with it.
Right. Is that a caller for the show? No. Okay. The numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. Our line is 824-9952, 824-9952. And we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Good day, everyone.
Hi, good day.
Michelle, I have heard the debate as to whether or not a man can rape his wife. We have heard the biblical side of it. Now, I will give you the truth. First and foremost, rape in the context of which you ladies speak, and I do agree with, should also be looked at on a higher level as relates to punishment on the level of murder. When a person, any person, is raped or forced or abused, you just kill them. You just kill that person. I need somebody. I need the universe to hear me. Any husband who violates his wife by going outside, number one, read Leviticus 18 so you can know what you're supposed to do and not to do. And then we could go to the New Testament and find out what you need from the New Testament. But either which way, yes, I want every pastor, especially if you black, especially if you have a big church, all the way from the Bahamas, go straight back to Africa on that line. They brought the people of the book. If you live sinful, okay, we're going to lose this nation. God, the universe owner, he rejects every nation who indulge in abomination. Now, if it happened to you and you don't want to speak about it because of, your reasons, that's on you. But the light will not shine in your life until you do. In the ways that is in context with the universe owner and yourself. As relates to me, I was married. I'm now a divorce. And if I had not sinned against that beautiful person who God linked me to, because he who finds himself a wife finds a great thing. Not only good, it's great. It's great. Everybody will tell you that when it's over. It was great. Okay? So now, a man, and all you black Bahamian fellas, y'all let me down. Y'all bring me out of the wilderness after 3 months. I was going to be quiet for the next 12 months. But anyway, I could still try to see if I could start over again. As of today, if you want to hear my voice, you're going to pay for it. Sponsor this show. And then you'll hear me. I want to hear some sponsors. I don't want this servant, this public servant, this super woman, this super angel of the Most High, who the whole world know her, and how long we know her. That's what she is. She's divine. It's like you. Now, we have to be taught who you are. No problem. The person who's abusing women and talking nonsense, but they can't. A husband cheat on his wife, you kill that woman. You violated your marriage vow. So if that woman knew at the moment what you did, she would leave you. And if all things being balanced and equal, you know and I know she will walk out and tell you, see you later. And this is why I fight for our government to give at least themselves an opportunity to be a good government as relates to taxing every corporation that does business under this democracy, under this NATO. Every nation from America, Great Britain, if you're doing business in about Amos Jr. Miller wants you to get taxed. And I don't care who call and agree. Plenty fellas cheating on their wife, and when they reach back home, they know the woman mad, and then you force yourself. You rape her, you abused her, and you murdered her in your marriage. You murder your marriage. And the day you have to put your hand on your woman to keep her, you just lost her. Think within your own self how you would want your child. And most men were doing that nonsense. Don't even have a daughter. Okay? They don't even have a mother, some of them. Some of them don't know what it is to respect a woman.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, Amos. I really appreciate the support. Is that another caller for the show? Yes, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Well, good afternoon, Michelle.
Hey, Graham.
You know, we covered this in 2008 when they brought the Honorable Loretta Butler, someone representing the AG, and someone representing the clergy. I was hosting a show on a different station at that time for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness he returned early. And we had a lively discussion on the issue. Where's the same vigor in the government? Where's the same vigor in the church, as Amos just said, for the scheming and sweethearting? It's there for spousal rape, right?
Mm-hmm.
But where is it for the sweethearting that leads, as Amos just said, in some cases, to issues? Now, at that time, I said it was, because, referenda was hot at that time. And we said yes, and they said no, and all kind of crazy. I said we should have had a referendum on sweethearting. And no matter the outcome, we'd do what we want to do anyway, even if you said no. And it was a joke. It was a mockery. But the way we sway women, a lot of women, if this were to go to a referenda, which it shouldn't, it should, because it needs to be our opinion, not the government's, is that how would you feel if it's your good daughter? Well, let's spin it. How would you feel if it's your good son? Let's say your good son married a girl who wasn't so good, and you didn't really want him to marry the girl, right, Michelle?
Right.
But he did. And her friend said, you should get back at this man because he doesn't want to do whatever. Buy you a new car, buy you some handbag. You get angry. And you want to spite him. And you and your friend conspire to do some things to your body. I won't get graphic. And then you go to the hospital, to the police and everybody, and you say, I got raped. Now, your good son is charged. He might get off, but he have to spend plenty of money, or he may go to jail, at which time the two bad women could sell the assets of your good son. While he's incarcerated, they have power of attorney. So we argue both sides of this thing. And at that time, Rodney told Papa to stop peeping in people's bedroom window. And I thought that was funny. I came up with a solution to create a lot of jobs, Michelle. And it was humorous, but it's pretty deep. We got a lot of lawyers. Everyone wants to be a lawyer. A lot of them broke. And we had said at the time, why don't we just do a consent form for each act of sex? And you would sign off with a lawyer, so we'd know, what position, times, and everything else. And then we'd have a videographer in case it went to court to know what actually happened. You see, the reality is, Michelle, I could create a lot of jobs because we have plenty of sex around here. The reality is there are laws in place today, because this is going to be a final blow to young men that say, hey, I shouldn't mess with that marriage stuff because I could be ending up in trouble. Even good guys that treat women well, you could have some bad women that throw them under the bus. Where's the safety net for the honest guys that could be set up, for lack of a better word? And it's very sad, because if we're married, Michelle, and you abuse me or I abuse you, I can put a restraining order on you today. There are things I can do, start proceedings against you today, even though we're married. See, we have laws for assault. Okay?
Right.
So if you're staying in a house with somebody that is doing things to you and you're not happy, as a man or woman, and you've not filed charges, and you can move out, you can go to your sister, cousin, mommy, you got a long list of people you could go to. If it is that bad, you're not going to stay in that location. But the fact that we want to throw another blow at marriage and discourage men even further, because that's where it's going to end up. And so I'll leave you with this. As I determined with Orton back in the day, it's probably better to, if a woman comes or a man, and in our society, a man comes and a woman been beating up on him or trying to poison him or whatever she'd been doing, we would laugh at him as the police. And that's really sad. Anyway, because I've heard some women tell me what they would do to some men. And they would do it because the man is scheming, like Amos say. So we need to make sure, pass the strongest laws, whatever law you want for spousal rape, make it twice as bad for scheming. And let's see if the pastor them can talk about that. Because it's all through the Bible telling you don't do that. But I never hear no church. I actually would be willing to put up a little offering if the pastor
no,
would.
man. Some of them just preach against that, Graham. But you know.
Yeah, stop scheming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so a referendum on spousal rape, and let's reinforce the laws on assault, so that the women can ban you. What is it, over the peace?
Yeah.
Portland knew the technical terms.
Yeah.
Anyway, Michelle, have a good one. And you know, one day we need to talk about how to fix Abaco, eh?
Yeah, that's a whole series.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
Thanks
have a
for
good
calling.
one.
Thanks for calling, Graham. I really appreciate it. Wow. We have become experts, Shelley, at putting band-aids on hemorrhages.
Yes. Gaping wounds.
Gaping hemorrhages. And we put a little band-aid and say, see, we fixing it. And then we wonder why the bleeding is stopping.
It's hemorrhaging.
It's going to take work, people. I'm not sitting here saying that this is going to be easy. But my God, you got to do something. If you got to, every journey begin with the first step, no matter how long the journey is. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. We have to do something. We can't continue. There'll be outrage for about a week, too, maybe.
Yeah, and we're going into the weekend, so probably by Monday, Tuesday, you know, everything will blow over, but the problem persists. And maybe another incident might come up, and you know, it keeps it alive and everything. But you know, we don't want to downplay it, because there are some persons out there who are doing a yeoman's job. They're trying to get some things done.
Candy Gibson is from Foam is one of them.
Yes,
Mhm.
and like I mentioned,
The Crisis Center,
Podesta and
yes,
Crisis
Podesta,
Center.
and others,
They're working.
Mhm.
There are some women working. You know, I work in my community, and I remember the night that Heavenly was murdered. We have a neighborhood association, and several persons called me. We have a chat group where we communicate with each other in the neighborhood,
Mhm.
and they several persons called me because I'm the chairperson, and they said, are you watching what's going on? I said, yeah. And I'm thinking that they're referring to the Heavenly incident, because at that particular time the police was still investigating, which is a distance away from where we are.
Right.
And they say, I'm like, isn't it sad, you know, how they're now saying that we're talking about what's going on. Come to find out that no, Shelley, no, that's not what I'm talking about. It was another young lady who was being beaten and dragged into a vehicle by a young man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are you kidding? How what worse can this get? I said, well, so what did you all do? And they said, oh, can we call the police? But he dragged her and he pulled off. And by the time the police would have reached, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's happening practically every day. But we don't hear about these things.
Lord have mercy. I just pray that whatever the outcome, justice is served in this and all cases.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the autopsy will reveal a lot, I'm sure.
Yes,
and
it would.
I know that the police will
expedite it.
Do their due diligence now that she dead.
Mm-hmm. It's sad, isn't it?
Like she said, you know, y'all gonna wait till something happen and then everybody can feel so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, this is terrible. What about now? Man, that was a tough video to watch.
It was.
To listen to that young lady. That was tough.
But I pray that she finds rest, eternal rest. You know, this is the season that we Anglicans, this is our Lenten season. And you know, it's more of a solemn season. It's really my favorite time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And but these sort of things, it's difficult to fathom. It's difficult to deal with, and especially when you in my position having to talk about these sort of things every day.
Yeah.
And I find comfort and solace, at the end of the day. This evening we go to what we call Stations of the Cross, and I must remember in my prayers that, include her in my prayer. And I pray that everybody can remember her, the family of Carissa, and all the
Family
women.
will
Yeah,
need support. Well,
yeah.
yeah. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day, Miss Malcolm. How are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Yeah, good, and good day to you, guest.
Good day.
It just seems as if, like, whenever we have a chance to say, breathe, we have to hold our breath again. And this Narissa, God bless her soul, and oh Lord, her son. Oh, baby, I pray for them. I pray for him. And I hope that we as a society can really, really gather around him, Heavenly Son. Well, it's going now, and there's so many persons that we have lost to violence. But the thing about what I'm looking at with this young lady, she tried. She tried so hard.
She did everything she was supposed to do.
Fought her. I just learned today that she was a part of the. Remember, was it last week? With the women and the minister and all of the groups. Candy was there, coming up with some sort of ideas and trying to come up with something to relieve the situation, social services and so forth. And they said that she spoke, and I saw just about all of the interviews, especially the one that she did on another show. And this young lady, she shared so much. Mm-hmm. And right now she's speaking from wherever she is right now, from heaven. And if we as a society, if the powers that be, this is one time, and I keep saying that every time it happens, I get on there and I ask, where is the outrage? And they say, they rule it as whatever they want to rule it as, but they need to investigate that. This young lady spoke from the grave, and she said exactly what was done to her. And she was told how she was going to be murdered, allegedly. Okay, you can just get the tapes, listen to her.
No, it was.
Right,
I didn't see it when when she first put it up, and Shelley brought it to my attention today. Mm-hmm. And I watched it prior to the show, and it was very hard to watch.
Yes, it broke my heart. It really, really brought me to tears. And I last night I got the news, rather late, but I couldn't turn off my phone. I had to watch, and I watched that. I looked at her eyes, and you could see the pain. Mm-hmm. But what she did on the interview she did with Shanique, she said she told the ladies, when you are being abused, this child is locked down in a room, mm-hmm. hearing the pounding of that door. You understand me? Even if it was like they ruled it whatever to be, she was going through some sort of and I don't know if she was getting any psychological or help along with or counseling along with the I think they said they had her staying somewhere. It's not enough just to put a person in a safe house or a safe room, especially with children. Mm-hmm. You relive that night, even if the person is not there bombing on your door. You try to go to sleep, you still hear that bombing. You still hear it's like a horror movie. Mm-hmm. You understand? And it can drive you crazy. Yeah. You understand? And I think we cannot every 2 weeks cry for baby Bella. We cannot cry for Heavenly. We cannot cry for Narissa. And then the next week we just calm down. Mm-hmm. There is so much crown land in this country. So much crown land we have in this country. Okay? Persons of prestige or certain people get the property to do whatever they want to do on it. Why can't that be done? Why can't they identify a piece of property? We have persons sitting on top of one in prison, they're so pieced up all together. Right? Have someone lay out a plan, have that place, have a place for a whole span, right? Mm-hmm. For persons housing, counseling, a place for the children to be counseled, whatever. You understand, even an area when these persons, to perpetrators, be it man or woman, it's for them to get some counsel in a different facility, a different area, right? But we need to keep these persons safe. You put these persons up in these so-called places. You pay these people for their housing for a couple of months or whatever, however long they're there for, right? They're not. They're just there, like it plays on your mind. And you know, and this whole system of social services that needs to be sorted out because too many mothers are dying. They're leaving their sons and their daughters. This young lady, she said that she was mother. She doesn't have a mother. She said that she didn't even have like a family.
Yeah.
You understand me? So she was really,
Alone.
Broken, broken. And there's so many of women, the majority women, who are broken today. And they're hearing this and they're watching this and they're saying, "What's going to happen to me?" And I think this is something that we as our governments, they jump on things when something they jump all over certain
Reactionary.
things to help or to do things, make it available for certain persons. But why is these? Why I haven't seen any property cleared down. I haven't seen any groundbreaking for a center for these ladies or men or whatever or children. We need to act now. How many? Because that's one. The funeral is over. Okay, she's gone. Maybe just move on. No, we're not going to sit down. We're not going to allow this to happen. And we have to get together as a people and agitate. And I mean agitate. Hashtag all of those ladies, all of those children, all of those persons who have been murdered and abused needlessly. You understand me? There has to be hashtag those names so that we may never forget. Never forget. We vote and we do these things sometimes for our own selfish purposes. Sometimes just because we belong to a particular party. We have to do these things for more deeper, meaningful situations. You understand me? We have to put our agendas aside and try and so there will never ever be these pieces happening, Michelle and Ms. Madam. There is happening too frequently right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Colin. We got to put down.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling. We got to put down these political colors, people. This ain't got nothing to do with politics. Okay? This has nothing to do with politics. Let's put down the political colors now. Okay? I'm going to read one quick message from one of our WhatsApp messages and then take a break. Shelley, you got to turn it down again. So this message says, wait, let me take you out of the stream. This message says, good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm. Nothing is going to change in this country until we put persons in position who understand and know what to do. The other day, we had a commissioner of police who, when asked about men committing suicide, said they are weak men. If he was in any other country, he would have been made to resign. What happened to woman is a reflection of what is going on in this country. Our former prime minister, when asked about something, what Mr. Davis said about some money issue, he cussed. The attitude should not be accepted. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to continue the conversation. Maybe we'll look at some other issues. I don't know. Or maybe we'll just continue talking about this. But in any event, we'll be back after these words. Stay with us.
Follow us
And welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company. Shelley Lewis slipped out. She said she had had enough. I want to give a special thanks to Shelley for joining me on the show today. I enjoyed her time here on the set with me, and who knows, maybe if she's not too busy, we can bring her on some other Fridays to talk about issues that are facing our nation today. The numbers to call 3260271. 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp number is 824-9952, 824-9952. So there were some other stories that took place this week. One among them, chief among them, I guess, was the mid-year budget debate, and the prime minister making his contribution. And according to what he had to say, and I'm about to go to the next clip, so just be ready to bring up the audio, Jason. There may have been some misappropriation of funds, allegedly, according to what the prime minister had to say. Here is a report by Eyewitness
Prime Minister
News.
Philip Davis essentially said today in Parliament that after investigations have been launched into these government agencies and initiatives, funds once unaccounted for have suddenly started popping up. One of the biggest shockers, however, relating to the food assistance program. We know that in one of the most recent OPM press conferences, the Auditor General Terence Bastian revealed that an investigation was being launched into pandemic spending. But at that time, he indicated that there were no particular concerns at that time. But today, officials are saying something different. Take a look.
All of a sudden, money started being returned to the. As soon as inquiry started, money started coming back to out of nowhere, coming to the minister. The minister called me, say, what the minister said, I said, PM, I had 2 more million coming today. Madam Speaker, the Bahamian people deserve answers, and steps have and will be taken to ensure that those responsible will be held accountable.
Prime Minister Philip Davis crying shame on NGOs that were put in charge of distribution for the government's food assistance program. According to Davis, at a time when so many residents were vulnerable and in need of assistance, several of those NGOs, he says, were not using the full budget to assist residents in need.
In one case, one had close to $2 million sitting in their bank accounts. Why? These amounts have since been returned, as I mentioned, as we have demanded, but this fact, coupled with extremely poor record keeping, which characterize all elements of this program, leaves one to question what exactly was the true purpose of this program. It clearly was not just to address food insecurity. Some NGOs have in fact failed to provide any real information. In Grand Bahama, the program was run out of the political office of the then Minister for Grand Bahama, and no real cooperation has been forthcoming.
The highly controversial program ended in September 2021, and the Minister of Social Services, Obi Wilchcombe, had promised a revamp after he said out of the fiscal budget of $12 million passed in June 2021 for the ministry, $10 million or $800,000 plus per week had been spent in just 3 short months prior to him coming to office.
What is the point of holding on to funds when there was such a huge need to feed our people? And if the funds were available, why was better quality food not provided to all Bahamians?
This just one of 3 programs or initiatives government is looking into. While there was an Auditor General's report released on the travel visa program, the Prime Minister says that's not the end.
A critical question, which still must be answered, is who issued the instructions to transfer public funds to the various vendors mentioned in the report. In addition, what was the supporting information used to justify these transfers, given that most of the vendors identified operated without contracts and did not issue invoices for their services?
A forensic review also nearing completion on the Beaches and Parks Authority. PM Davis says some vendors and employees seem to believe that they are not to be held accountable.
Records and the money trail are clear, and the evidence of wrongdoing is overwhelming. I have been approached by some who have preemptively sought forgiveness and offered to implicate others. I have not entertained these discussions, as that would be highly inappropriate. What I wish to say for now, Madam Speaker, the chips will fall where they may.
Lord, what a time in Dumfries Church. Wow. Now, for the sake of balance, the opposition has responded to the Prime Minister's allegations. And here is what they had to say. This is a report coming in from our news.
It's disingenuous of the government to attempt to give the impression that the circumstances at the beginning of COVID are identical to this period where the economy is gradually being opened in its entirety. Because the fact of the matter is, many of the restrictions that we
again, let's see if we can get the audio worked out, because you need to hear what Mr. Pintard had to say. So let's try that again.
It's disingenuous of the government to attempt to give the impression that the circumstances at the beginning of COVID are identical to this period where the economy is gradually being opened in its entirety. Because the fact of the matter is, many of the restrictions that we followed in the early days of COVID was similar to what was then considered best practices internationally.
Prime Minister Philip Davis also using the opportunity to speak directly to the pre-election report, noting significant liabilities and unfunded obligations of the government at the time total nearly $1 billion. To that, Pintard said this.
This has been rebutted on multiple occasions that it is not, in fact, the case. Ironically, the Deloitte and Touche report that they refer to, when you look at the report, it really does not support the point or the assertion made ultimately by the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Davis also chastising the previous government's food program.
Much of what the Prime Minister himself identified was accumulated under the Progressive Liberal Party. So it's rather troubling that the way he laid out the case today suggested that some of them were doing something untoward, and it is simply not the case. We asked the Prime Minister to provide the full details to the public where he believed that something inappropriate has been done, and we would like to know why the government presently does not have the food program in full operation, given the food insecurity that many Bahamians are experiencing.
Okay, where do I begin? First of all, perception is oftentimes more powerful than reality. And if there's nothing untoward happening, as the Prime Minister suggests, why money coming back now? According to him, $2 million in one shot all of a sudden was put back. There's, how can I put this? There's an old saying, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. And I understand that, in the midst of a fluid situation with the pandemic, decisions are made quickly, etc., but that does not say that you cannot go back and cross all your T's and dot all your I's and make sure that even though you may have rash decisions, you go back in and you make sure that everything is according to, above board. When you you didn't tell me that. Okay, so we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi, and good day to your listeners.
Good day to you too.
Okay. Send condolence to everyone who missing somebody today, lose a loved one.
Yeah.
Okay. This thing with Brave Davis them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's just like it's a name and shame thing, and ain't nothing to come out of it. You know, like how the politicians is have these meetings and stuff, where they go and they challenge and they challenge the students stuff. I like to challenge Prime Minister Brave Davis or suggest something to him, not dictate now, because they don't like you to dictate to them, although they're just servants, and we as the boss collectively together.
Mm-hmm.
I want to suggest to Prime Minister Davis to be brave. Be brave, Mr. Davis, and prosecute. Mr. Davis, when you stand up in Parliament and you talk about they and them and the Free National Movement, and you talk about friends, family, and lovers, Mr. Davis, it's like you're singing to the choir. You hear us for saying this for years. Mr. Davis, it ain't no them and they. It's y'all. You too, Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, for years, Prime Minister's been using the public treasury as their slush fund. Mr. Davis, in 2017, sir, when we lose the election, I say we because I support the PLP, and I still support the PLP, although I continue to criticize them and hope to bring out the best in them. Mr. Davis, we leave over $1 billion worth of bills right there for whosoever be the next government in 2017. It was the Free National Movement. And Mr. Davis, they say the urban renewal, in spite of all them good things we do in helping people in different communities, they say that was considered a slush fund also. Two wrongs don't make a right. Peter, you know better than Paul. That friends, family, and lovers thing, Mr. Davis, is a real thing. And then mention it, it's like he making, I mean, I don't know the expression on his face, but it's like it's a big joke, like they just talking. Are you going to prosecute the persons them? So you're trying to tell me, I know no one might have steal anything, but you mean like as simple as you go and you steal something, you could just return it back and everything cool? Mr. Davis, you know we love you, Chair, but let me suggest something. I know you're not like some of us who have an axe to grind or would use the office of the Prime Minister to deal with your political enemies. I know you're a little different, but you don't have the rights, Mr. Davis, to use that office to protect anybody if they break the law. Your friends, family, all lovers. See, people, what we need to understand, this, PLP and F&M thing, this is a class issue. CLASS. This is a class thing. Okay? It's like the rich against the poor. All of them just use the needy and the poor to elevate themselves, to elevate their agenda, to enrich themselves. Mr. Davis, there ain't no difference. This is the first time he was high up there. He was Deputy Prime Minister before. They still continue. The 16th of this month, Ms. Malcolm will make 6 months since we voted for Brave Davis to be Prime Minister in the PLP to take over from the Free National Movement. Mm-hmm. And I would not be surprised if only if we could have found out. But it's so sad we have to wait for 5 years to find out. We didn't know. We had an idea what former Prime Minister was doing, But now the truth coming out. I wouldn't be surprised, Mr. Davis, them doing the same thing right now for their friends, family, and lovers. You know, when people out here hungry and starving? Mr. Davis, them meet the people in the condition, lead the people in the condition, promise them all kind of things. And people saying, oh, man, poor man, stop it, man. It's only 6 months. It's only 5 months. Yeah, 5 months, and you're still in the condition which you was in when we voted for a new day. We just want opportunity to see him. See, we don't mind, David, Prime Minister Davis, them taking care of their friends, family, and sweetheart, them, We just wish they'll use the same energy and strength they use for their friends, family, and lovers to deal with us, Bahamian people, support us, not just PLPs, but F&Ms also. This is the first time ever we had in the Bahamas where a new government stopped a job from in December, stopped the job at the beach and parks. I'm talking about thousands of people, PLPs and F&Ms. And people are still waiting to get paid a day while Brave Davis traveling all over the world with his merry men. All right? When we can't even find, I'm talking about the electricity, I'm talking about all kind of bills. Opportunities is right there. But who are they giving it to? They're giving it to people who already have it, people who already with. They're talking this thing with generals. When people them suffering, evicted out their house, can't even find food. I think Mr. Davis, them should be ashamed. They said, I wish there was a way we could make an example of them. One time you were with them,
Ingram said it should be more than just voting. But see, Mr. Brave them take this for a game. Him standing up in Parliament talking with friends, family, and lovers. He know he's talking to himself. It's like he's looking in the mirror. Is he singing to the choir? The Bremen people tired of that. They've been doing that. We should be able to prosecute their backside. You understand what I said, Miss Malcolm?
I hear you.
Yeah, that's a bunch of baloney. I PLP. I voted for the PLP, and I little different than some of them PLPs. You know what they tell me? Boy, shut your mouth, boy. If you this and that, or they ain't gonna do it, you better don't dictate to the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister ain't Jesus Christ, boy. Brave Davis ain't perfect, boy. All right? They might give us some money and stuff and help us in issues and stuff and promise us the world, right? But they ain't Jesus Christ. The book says the arms of flesh will fail us. All right? And right now they're laughing at us. You can't even get. Don't care who you think you is, PLP. Some are saying we'll die, PLP. You can't get Mr. Davis. Now, Mr. Davis busy. He's the Prime Minister. I don't expect him to answer the phone. But you can imagine you being leaving message for 6 months. Not me, you know. I talk about people out there. Listen to me. I used to joke to how they treating me. And I say to myself, if they could treat Papa like that, in spite of whosoever or whatsoever I think, whosoever I think I is, I can imagine what they doing to other people then.
All right.
They're just a bunch of users, Michelle. They're used to Bahamian people. They political suckers, parasite, all right?
All right.
Blood suckers. Keep up the good work, man.
Thanks for calling. Boy, I know I had to say get it off your chest, but he certainly got that off of his chest today. Wow. You know, I've been hearing rumblings that a lot of political operatives are feeling disappointed that things aren't moving as quickly for them as they thought it would. I don't know. Yeah. But getting back to this whole thing of perception, you know, and if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, chances are it's a duck. I just hope that whatever the findings are, he said the chips will fall where they may. I agree with Pauper to a degree that, you know, we need to start seeing some people do the bank lane shuffle. It can't be where, although they don't do that no more, hey, but it can't be where you could continuously cycle after cycle after cycle, have people go in there and rape the country and get away with it scot-free. Then why would we expect any different from the next set? Why? Don't take a genius to figure out that you would actually attract people who are looking to go get theirs if they see that there's no recourse, even if they're caught. So I am waiting with bated breath to see what are the results of the investigations that are going to come out of all of this. But just know that you know, I don't know if Hubert Ingram realized it. Not Ingram, Hubert Minnis realized that when he you know, brought all those cases of members of parliament before the courts and lost every single case, that he opened a can of worms. He opened a can of worms. So now that we are taking people before the courts, even if they're parliamentarians, I want to see what can happen now. Now, Mr. Davis said in his communication that we're not going to just be putting people before the courts just because they are our political opponents. But if you have found to have done something that is against the law, you're going. And we can let the chips fall where they may. I waiting to see this. Something got to give. Is that a call for the show? Because if it is, that'll be our last call. No? It is a call of show. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, Michelle, good afternoon.
Hi.
I just want to say something concerning what Papa just said to you. You know, we argue and we go on about the two governments, just like you say. PLP, FNM is no different, you know. They've been sharing the country for so long, and the problem is the leadership down. You know, their philosophy is the way they do things. From they opened up this country, that was the best thing they did. Now they need to get jobs lined up for people. People here hurting. The country is in a bad state. Right now, most of all, we all need to get on our knees and pray for deliverance for our country. You understand? That's the most important thing. And we could beat up all our bunch, but I hear you talking about women's liberation and this one and the next one. These things are trivial.
No.
I mean, it's important to you. I agree with you.
No, it ain't only important to me. This is
That's
exactly what we were talking about. And I wasn't talking about women's liberation. I'm talking about women being treated as human beings.
Yeah, so you know.
That ain't got nothing to do with liberation.
Right.
Just look at me as a human being equal to you.
But Michelle, you know what the problem is when we turn our back on God as a nation. You understand? The devil's spirit take over, and that's what's going on. And I keep prophesying that to the people. Look at what's happening. We can't change that with laws. We can only change that with the right leadership, with people coming in power who have righteousness in them. And I don't know what I ask my Lord every day. I say, God, when will it change? But it can happen soon, Michelle. I just wanted to say my 5 cents. And tell Papa, you know, you'll be crying forever. They think that changing the government makes a difference. It ain't gonna make no difference. These people, when they get in the front, in the House of Assembly, the devil takes them. And he feeds them greed. And all they want to do is secure the people in the family and the rest of them. And they have a playbook that they want to keep us poor, broke, and hungry. So in the next election, we have to vote for them.
Okay.
It's a sad fact.
Gotta let you go. Gotta let you go. Thank you for calling. All right, so running out of time. This weekend, Sienna Evans leaves for Puerto Rico, where she will be vying for the Miss World title on Wednesday of next week is the finale. And we're hoping and praying for the best. And we're hoping to get to Puerto Rico to broadcast the show from there. Check this out.
Get your high heels on and your little black dress, cause you're gonna impress tonight. We only drink champagne, that's right. No beer around here tonight, cause it's a high class joint and we're gonna reach boiling point in here tonight. Be coming through, hanging with my crew. What you wanna do? Sexy ladies, give it to me. We ain't here for you, hanging with my crew. You gonna do? Sexy ladies, work it, baby. All my girls in the club, rip a pillow, rock it out. Do your thing, shake it up, pop a dick, can't stop. Move right, groove tight, until any tonight. Getting hot, doing shots, we gon' set this party out.
Interested? 3260271. Call us so you can be a part of that show. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Time to get out of here. We have a show coming from Grand Bahama at 4 o'clock. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Have a great and safe weekend.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators radio station.